Linguistic acceptation, labeling and analogy. Roots and Lass have both raised the question of what to do with the linguistic leftover or linguistic junk. It means that there are certain elements in morphology which remains even after the passing of a number of years or centuries. In both cases, it has to do with morphemes that lose their semantic content or morphosyntactic function as a result of language change and are left as contentless, functionless strings of phonemes floating around the system. So these are some units, some elements, some morphemes or phonemes which remains floating in the language, which lose their content, that their meaning in them. So they keep on coming into the words but without any significance. They show that languages are in general intolerant of useless element and speakers reanalyze them as having a new role. So what do speakers do is to reuse them with a new role. Lass calls this process reusing linguistic acceptation, extending a term of evolutionary biology to the study of language change. So taking this term from biology, he uses it for morphology or such junk, linguistic junk. Cameron Faulkner and Carstairs McCarthy, in their work on inflectional classes and gender, inflection classes of morpheme and gender, where morphemes and stem alternation, any change in it, respectively suggest their linguistic acceptation is pervasive. They think that this process is very much there in different languages of the world. A natural consequence of a core psycholinguistic mechanism that makes it easier for speakers to master complex inflectional system or to learn the meaning of new vocabulary item. This relates to our psycholinguistic phenomena and help us give new meaning to the new vocabulary items. It plays an important role in the evolution of inflectional system cross-linguistically. In the whole disciplines of linguistics, it plays a very important role. Germanic family has acceptation. Indo-European vowels alternation within verbal paradigms. Paradigm, when we refer to this word paradigm, for verbal paradigm, for example, we refer to the different forms of the verb like play, played, playing, etc., write, wrote, written. So this is the verbal paradigm. The verbal paradigm came to encode the present past. For example, English write and wrote with the change of meaning. It says that originally being used to encode a spectral distinction. A spectral distinction refer to how the word denotes some event or express some event, some action with reference to time. The case the verbal suffix esc in Romanesque Latin, where the suffix sc attached to sequence of verb stem plus theme vowel. Theme vowel is a juncture or is a point to attach a suffix with the stem like a or o sound. This is theme vowel, right? Theme vowel to form the inchoative aspect. Inchoative aspect which shows which has the general meaning to begin with. So when a certain inchoative aspect is put into the verb, right, it gives its meaning began to do something or began to. Let's have an example of this inchoative aspect. So palo from Latin, uninchoative aspect is palo, I'm pale, right? Amo, I love. So inchoative aspect added to this, for example, we have added es into it, right? So what it becomes is Pelasco, I began to pale. Amasco, I'm beginning to love. So this aspect is still not very much in use with reference to English. English does not use this inchoative aspect very much. However, we can say a few examples. For example, we can look at the verb white and whiten. Whiten mean become pale or begin to be pale. So this has some of its inchoative aspect in it, but it's not very much used in English language. The tendency for languages to prefer regular paradigms over irregular ones sometimes leads to leveling. For example, irregular mean go and gone, right? And regular mean play, played, playing, etc. So it leads to leveling that the people used to start using some regular instead of irregular with reference to the vocabulary. The elimination of sound alternation do not signal important difference in meaning. And when this change a sound, it does not affect the meaning of the word. For example, we can have an example from grammatical prehistoric Latin, Old Latin and classical Latin. So if you look at this, these are grammatical function, nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, ablative. These are all grammatical functions, right? They show the case of the noun. So in prehistoric, we have colus, and clauses, and clausae, and clausem, and clausae. So even in Old Latin, the sound remains the same, sir is, but in classical Latin, the sa is shifted or changed with r, and there is no difference in the meaning of the word. So this is a very common alternation of sounds within languages. So Hogg gives the example of English plural. It is because of 4-part analogy that the plural of cow is cows, replacing the earlier form kine. The new plural cow has a singular cow and plural cows. It is done on the analogy of stone and stones. So this is very common. So the moment the word is changed, because there was no change in meaning, so it was followed according to the regular pattern instead of the irregular pattern. So leveling and analogy are powerful forces in the development of languages over time, driven by seemingly innate preference in speaker for phonological and morphological similarity between members of a paradigm or a class of words. So people keep on leveling and keep on making analogies. They tend to create a regular paradigm instead of irregular paradigms. So this phonological and morphological change is a continuous process in language, and it tells us the development of morphological system as well as the phonological system of a certain language.